Hello to everyone. My name is NC Lightworker and welcome to the NC Lightworker YouTube channel. I am a lightworker by trade. A lightworker is someone who has received a calling from the Most High God and has been entrusted with the duty to light the pathway for God's people. I do not have any religious affiliation, nor am I affiliated with any group or organization. This commentary is part of the Heal Thyself video series. I am also a conscious person, which means that I tend to view the world differently from most people. Therefore, this commentary will be delivered from a conscious viewpoint. As a lightworker, it is my job to present the information only. Therefore, I do not respond to any questions, comments, or emails. The purpose of this video is to plant the seed to ignite the spark within you that will be the catalyst for transformation. Thank you for tuning in, and let's get started. It took a long time for me to write this commentary. It was very important that I chose my words carefully because a lot of people will be able to relate to the message that is being delivered. Everyone has an inner child that lives inside of them. So before we can truly understand the black man, we have to first and foremost acknowledge the little black boy. Everyone has a story to tell, and some people's stories are sadder than others. Sometimes, our life story will have us believing something about ourselves that is not true. It will have you clinging on to an identity that is rooted in dysfunction. This life story may make you forget your true identity, but just because you forget doesn't mean that you never knew the truth about yourself. It's just a matter of being reminded of who you are. Black man, this commentary is going to serve as your friendly reminder. Black men are the gods that walk this earth. He serves and is created in the image of the Most High God. Black men are the descendants of Egyptian pharaohs, African kings, and other great men who built civilizations on this earth. We stand on the shoulders of giants, and it is our responsibility to continue the work of our ancestors. You have to understand that life is a test. The very first thing that you were tested on is on your ability to be able to come into knowledge of God's self. Therefore, you were born into a world where your enemy tried to break you. They tried to convince you that you were everything but the God that you are. Life is a test. Not all males grow to be men, and not all men will assume their rightful place as a god. Before the black man can have knowledge of God's self, he has to heal thyself. To do this, it is required that he travels a journey that involves the discovery of self-love and understanding. This journey is not going to be easy, so much so that most people will not be able to find the strength to suit up for it. So how does one start their journey? Well, the answer to this question is very easy. The answer is to start from the beginning. Before the black man came into manhood, there was a little black boy. Everyone has a reason for believing what they believe about themselves. Everyone has a story to tell. Unfortunately, some people's life stories have left them haunted by many unanswered questions. Within this journey of self-love and understanding, you basically have to become a detective of your own life. So how does a detective solve a mystery? A detective solves a mystery by answering the following: who, what, when, where, why, and how. This is how understanding is achieved. The main question that we're going to address in this commentary is why. So with that being said, I want you guys to meet Jay. Jay has a story to tell, and we're going to follow Jay throughout his journey into manhood. Jay is 10 years old, lives in the city with his mother and 3 younger siblings. All of Jay's siblings were fathered by different men. Dysfunction functions on a cycle. It is important to note that Jay's mother was also a product of a single-parent home, and she, just like Jay, has her very own story to tell. Jay's mother, who is no stranger to being in abusive relationships, is now dating a new man. Abuse has a pattern of its own. It starts with verbal abuse, elevates to physical abuse, and ends with sexual abuse. Because Jay is the oldest, he often sacrifices himself in an attempt to protect his younger siblings. Jay starts to question, why did this happen to me? Why wasn't there anyone there to protect me? He often wonders if his mother was aware of the abuse, but chose to turn a blind eye for the sake of having a man. Despite it all, Jay still loves his mother, but this experience will shape how he views women. He will find it difficult to fully trust a woman. Jay is now a teenager, but something has changed. Although the abuse continues, however, sex is no longer being forced upon him. He often finds himself being the one that initiates the sexual encounter. Jay does not understand why this is so. Victims of abuse are purposely groomed by those that prey on them. The main objective is to convince you that the dysfunctional behavior is both normal and correct. Little black boys do not develop a concept of what manhood is until they see an example of manhood, or they are either told what manhood is. Unfortunately, This understanding of what it means to be a man is often misguided. Even though the relationship that Jay has with the abuser is rooted in dysfunction, this is the closest and probably the only relationship Jay has with an adult male figure. Jay often questions, is this normal? Is this part of what it means to come into manhood? Is this what all men experience? Jay is a young adult and lives on his own. Although Jay has a history of dating women, he is going through a period in his life to where he is struggling with his sexual identity. He has never told anyone about the abuse, and he still engages in homosexual encounters. He is often approached by older men, and these men come under the guise of a pastor, teacher, or other authoritative figure. Jay does not understand why. Hurt people hurt people. It is important to remember that you and the person that hurt you the most have the exact same life story. Since people wear their hearts on their sleeves, they also wear their pain. The reason why older men prey on young men like Jay is because they are able to sense their pain. The predator is able to recognize it within himself. Hurt people hurt people. You have to understand that a predator is someone who is convinced that the dysfunctional behavior they engage in is both normal and correct. These people are weak and do not possess the strength that is necessary to travel a journey of self-love and understanding. They will never possess the power that comes with conquering one's fears. Therefore, as a predator, they are constantly seeking to obtain a false sense of power that comes from victimizing others. Jay is in his early 20s, and just like all men of his age, his hormones are raging. Humans are emotional creatures, and we tend to engage in behaviors that are familiar to us. Jay's ideas about sex were misguided from an early age. Therefore, he is merely engaging in the type of sex that he is most familiar with. Someone once said, you can become addicted to a certain kind of sadness. And this is very true. For example, someone that has a sex addiction does not actually enjoy the act of having sex. They are more so addicted to the feeling of being victimized because this feeling is what they are most familiar with. Another example would be a woman that has a history of being in physically abusive relationships. She does not enjoy being abused. However, she is addicted to the feeling of being victimized because this type of treatment is what she is most familiar with. Growing up, she witnessed her mother being abused. Therefore, she perceives her abusive relationships as being both normal and correct. Unfortunately, pain is something that a lot of people are familiar with, and they spend their entire lifetime reliving it. I think a crash course in human anatomy will help us answer this question. The penis is a muscle, and just like any muscle in the body, it automatically reacts to external stimuli. An erection is not an indication of sexual attraction. Jay's ideas about sex were misguided from an early age. Remember, predators groom their victims. Therefore, as a result of years of abuse, Jay's body has been trained to achieve an erection during a homosexual encounter. This is in absolutely no way related to genuine sexual attraction. Because of the abuse, Jay's sense of sexual attraction never had a chance to fully develop. Genuine sexual attraction is something that the individual discovers on their own, void of any negative outside influences. This is generally developed in males around the age of 13, during the onset of puberty. So the fact that Jay is an adult male that engages in sex with other men does not make him gay. Jay is simply a man that has a story to tell and a journey to take. Jay is now 30 years old and is beginning to reflect on his life. Whenever Jay is in his quiet space, he is often visited by a little boy. Jay knows exactly why the little boy is there. However, he simply brushes the little boy off by telling him, "I don't know why, and now is not a good time." The little boy sighs in disappointment and vanishes into thin air. Everyone has an inner child that lives inside of them. The little boy was Jay at 10 years old. Whenever a child has been mistreated, what is the first question the child wants to know? The answer is why. As the years go by, Jay's mind becomes flooded with unanswered questions. The little boy that lives inside of him has been waiting for over 20 years and cannot wait any longer. Therefore, he appears before him every night, asking him, why? Jay is finding it difficult to mentally cope with the things that he experienced in his childhood. He is on the brink of reaching his breaking point. At this very moment, he has a choice to make. Will Jay suit up for his journey, or will he run away? Most people will not be able to find the strength to suit up for their journey. They will take the path of least resistance and make the choice to run away. Doing so only provides temporary relief from not having to think about the past. Some may run away by developing an addiction to drugs, an addiction to alcohol, an addiction to food, an addiction to sex, or they may become workaholics. To avoid confronting their past, some may try to reinvent themselves by rejecting their masculinity and will attempt to live their lives as a female. Truth is, no matter what you do, you are still the same person that you were before. And lastly, some may make the choice to live in dysfunction by openly identifying themselves as gay. You have spent eons learning to be confused. It takes but a moment to remember who you are. Black men are the gods that walk this earth, and the enemy has always known the truth about you. The enemy specializes in projecting their mental illnesses, projecting their dysfunctional orientation on God's people. I do not speak in terms of right and wrong. As a conscious person, I speak in terms of energy, balance, and nature. Anything that is of God will be in balance. For example, day and night, good and evil, man and woman. Masculine energy against masculine energy does not create balance. Therefore, nothing can grow from it. Black men are the descendants of great men who built civilizations. Every nation, every race of people on earth originated from your seed. Jay is at a crossroad in his life. Remember, life is a test. Not all males will grow to be men, and not all men will assume their rightful place as a god. If Jay chooses to live as a gay man, in addition to the unanswered questions from his childhood, he will often ponder the possibility of not being gay. Life is a test. In order to know who you are, you will need to know where you come from. Black men are the gods that walk this earth. As a god, homosexuality is not part of Jay's nature. It is not in his DNA. Life is a test, and it was Jay's responsibility to come into knowledge that manhood is something that no one can ever take away from you. Even if Jay decides to live his life as a female, there is no such thing as being too far gone. You can always start your journey at any time. Jay has made the decision to suit up for his journey. No two journeys are alike. Jay starts from the beginning by doing the detective work. He gained valuable insight into his family dynamics. He was able to open up to his mother, and luckily, his mother was willing to share her life story with him. In his journey, he gained peace of mind and wisdom. He knew there was no need to confront his abuser because they both shared the exact same life story, and that the only response he would receive will be not from a man, but from another little boy who will be unable to provide Jay an answer as to why. Jay decided to abstain from sex to allow himself time to heal. Because Jay achieved understanding, he is now ready to sit down and have a conversation with the little boy that lives inside of him. He was finally able to give him a full explanation as to why. He lets him know that life is a test, and he has proven himself to be the little warrior that he is because he was able to survive it. To let him know that he's proud of him because he did his very best to protect his mother and younger siblings. And most importantly, to let him know that what happened to him was not his fault. Jay now fully understands that because of the strength of that little boy, there is absolutely nothing that can stop him from becoming the God that he is destined to be. The beautiful thing about consciousness is that it will never force itself on you. You always have the option of going back to sleep at any time. The choice is yours. If the information in this post was able to wake up a handful of people, then my mission was accomplished. It is now your responsibility to stay awake, prepare, and continue connecting those dots. Please feel free to share this post. God bless and take care.